Right? And so what is today? Today is Mindset Monday, Motivation Monday. Thank God it's Monday. Whatever you want your Monday to be, but what we're going to be talking about is focusing really on your mindset and really how to essentially dominate, right, your goals by shifting your mindset, right? So today's topic of conversation is dominating your goals by shifting your mindset, right? And so listen, let's talk about that, right? What does that mean for you? And I'm going to give you some tips and some strategies in order to implement to really be able to create that domination in your goals, in your results when it comes to you changing and creating a healthy, active lifestyle for yourself and your ability to create at-will results, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about. So what does that mean, right? So the first thing that you got to start to work on is the belief in yourself, right? So that's tip number one. Tip number one is belief in yourself, right? You gotta believe in yourself that you can accomplish and dominate the goals that you set for yourself, right? Before you even come up with your plan, before you even come up with your strategy, before you even come up with your structure, you have to first create and have the belief and the faith, right? I'm gonna couple those together, the belief and the faith in yourself in order to really create domination, right? And because here's the key thing that you got to understand. A lot of us, right, myself included, are susceptible to thinking about past unsuccessful attempts, right? Drop a comment, drop a one in the comments and tell me about some of your past unsuccessful attempts that are holding you back. You see, because look, I understand that. I understand that, it's very challenging. I'm not going to say it's hard, right? It's very challenging, or can be very challenging, to get over your past unsuccessful attempts. And so what does that mean? That means that, listen, maybe you were trying in 2020, right? Maybe you were trying in 2020 to create some weight loss or some fat loss or some weight gain or some lean, sexy muscle building. Whatever it was that you were looking to create, maybe it didn't happen. And so getting started now in this time, right? And it's like, all right, new year, new me and all of this stuff. Well, listen, right? You got to understand that, okay, cool. What happened in 2020, leave it in 2020 and start fresh. Listen, what happened this past weekend, leave it this past weekend and start fresh. What you got to understand is that you have the ability to change your mindset. Right? You have the ability to change your mindset, which is going to help you in the creation of domination. And in that shift in your mindset, it is important for you to believe in yourself. It's important for you to have the faith in yourself that you can do it. Because I'm here to share with you, as a 19-year certified personal trainer, you can create domination towards your goals. You can create at-will results when you create a healthier and stronger mindset, which starts with a foundation of belief and faith in yourself, right? The second thing that you want to be able to start to do, right, and this is part of my philosophy, is think about what you want to create. Think about and fully write it out in as much detail, right? Think about as much detail as possible. Exactly how much weight you want to lose. Exactly how much body fat you want to create loss. Exactly how much weight you want to gain. Exactly what you want your measurements to be. What do you want your waist to be? What do you want your hips to be? What do you want your arm to be? What do you want your back and bust area to be? Right? How big do you want your chest, fellas? You got to start to think about these things. What do you want your thigh to be? How do you want it to look? Right? Find some examples, some body goal examples of what it is. And hey, guess what? If you have a previous version of yourself that you really like, you can be your own body goals inspiration. You see, all of that in that thinking process, right, is going to allow you to create the best plan possible because you have all of the details. Listen, me, when I was in school, right, high school, middle school, math and sciences were my favorite, and it was very simple for me, right? And so when you think about math, right, and you think about, when you get your calculus equations or you get your equations that have variables in it, right? The more variables that are undiscoverable, the more challenging the equation is. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The more variables that you have, right, that you don't know the value of, the more challenging the equation becomes. And so what I'm talking about in your second tip, and you need to think about what you need to do, and you need to write it down in as much detail as possible, is because you want to have the least amount of variables possible when you start to move in your next step. Because the least amount of variables possible allows you to create the best solution for your goals. Okay, so I want you to start to think about it like that. And listen, if you're not a math person, it's okay. Hopefully you got that analogy, right? But I want you to start to think about that. When you start to write it all out, you reduce the amount of variables. So now when you're working towards creating that plan and that structure, right? When you start to work on that, and that's the third thing, right, is that you got to teach yourself about it. And listen, when it comes to the teach, right, so the first thing was to think about it. The second thing is to teach, right? And so when you teach, it's about gathering the information. It's about, okay, how do I create this weight loss? What is the best way to make some adjustments to my eating habits? What is the best type of nutritional lifestyle that I need to lead? How much exercise do I need to get in a day, a week, a month? What type of intensity levels do I need to do? This is the kind of research and the things that you need to be able to teach yourself so that you can implement everything that you thought about. You see, so oftentimes we don't really extensively teach ourselves how it is because we never really thought about it in detail, right? Drop a 2 in the comment box if you're like, ooh, I got an aha moment. Like, I never really realized that I didn't think about it in detail, and that's probably why I had some gaps, because there was so many variables that I didn't take into account and that showed up throughout my journey, and that's the reason why I had these unsuccessful attempts. Not because it was impossible for me, but because I had too many variables that I did not take account for. You see, I'm saying I, but it's you. You got to take ownership. You got to be accountable for the things that are not working for you, because you are the only one that can make it happen, because you control you. Right? And so when you reduce the amount of variables and you go to this teach section, right? And now listen, here's what I want to share with you, right? Don't feel like you got to be your own guru. Don't feel like you got to have all the answers. Don't feel like you got to be the expert when it comes to the teaching aspect. That is when you might want to invest in a trainer, in a coach, somebody that has that expert guidance that can give you the value so that they can teach you, so it's easier for you to learn, so that you're not having to do all the research yourself and then trying to teach it yourself, and then maybe the research that you find